can watch it again if you want to go through any specifics.
Okay, great.
And I'm actually going to start here. I'm going to start at the end result of what you get when you use eManage. Um, and then I'm going to go through and just show you how the information gets in there, how you get the analysis, how you get all that stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and start up here. And I'm also going to be using, you guys know Stephen Edwards out in Hawaii, the System Center? He's
That,
actually, yeah, he's one of my business partners, and we're going to use his database today. So we're going to be hitting Hawaii and sending a picture back to you. So, and I'm in California. And it just so you know a little bit about eManage, we've been doing the Spacesaver group. God, we were partners with McMurray Stern about 12 years ago.
yep.
So yeah, so you know all the history.
I don't know all the history, but I know McMurray Stern.
Okay, yeah. Well, we've been actually we've had about 80% of the Spacesaver group for about at least 7 years and on up to 12 years. So pretty well established. I think we're the only software besides Configura that's gotten in that many. So I'm going to go ahead and start up here. And, eManage runs through the internet. So like I said, we're hitting Hawaii from California. You guys can run eManage from home. You can run our mobile web portal from a phone. You can run the customer portal from any web browser. We have a lot of different options there. But we use the internet, so you can pretty much log in from anywhere.
Okay.
Okay, so like I said, I'm going to start towards the end and show you some of the stuff that you get that you can start analyzing your business, and it really starts happening from the first day you start using eManage. So first thing I'm going to go in here is the eManage dashboard, and it is inside the software a Windows version of just looking at a graphical overview of your business. So you'll see here that I have a bunch of graphs, okay, and I've got all these salespeople, and these are all Stefan's salespeople checked off, and so it's compiling data for all of those salespeople all at once. I could choose to uncheck some of these or just look at one salesperson at a time, and I would get just their data here. But just to go through a couple of these, there's one of the important things is your current backlog. And if you guys know what a backlog is, it's all of your jobs that are booked but not 100% invoiced. Okay?
And will you also be getting into the service aspect?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
because that's a key feature for us.
Sure, yeah. I'm going to go through as quickly as I can because this is a lot of software. It runs every part of your business. So, but I just want to start with these graphs so that you guys can see that this data is compiled just from you guys doing your job, just from everybody doing their work throughout the day. Okay, so you can see here, this is backlog dollars. So this is only the amount of the orders that is not invoiced yet. Okay, so it's not the whole order sale price. We also, you guys do GSA stuff, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, so when you do GSA or buying groups even, like Med Assets or anything like that, you get a commission from Spacesaver, but you want to track your booking credit as well. So we also do that. So your order sale price is your amount of money that you're going to get from Spacesaver, and the booking credit is the amount of the actual sale because you did sell that Spacesaver products. You get credit for that. So we actually keep those things separate. Anyway, some of the graphs here, we've got sales quarter to date, sales year to date. I'm just going to make this a little smaller so we can just see a few of these. This is actually really cool. Sales by market for the last 5 years. Okay, so we compile data up to 5 years in this dashboard. So Stefan's been using the software since I think 2003. So he's got well over 5 years worth of data here. Okay, so there's another important one here. This is the profitability. So here's year to date, and it goes by salesperson. Okay, so here's a salesperson. Here's their profit dollars and their sell price. So you can see you can basically graphically see the margin there in the graph. Okay, so anyway, that's the dashboard. Another thing, just right over here on the today screen, and if you, can you see the today screen, or do you have the meeting thing in the way?
Nope, we can see that.
We can
Okay,
see it.
excellent. Okay, so just here in the today screen, here's all of your current opportunities. You guys know Dave Bodak over at Systems in Space?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, okay. Well, they're in Northern California. They're actually in San Francisco area, Bay Area. They just took over Rebecca Horn, and I can't remember the guy's name, but anyway, they live by this. This is their Bible. This is every project that's started that has not been booked as an order yet. Okay, so it's like your projections. So you can see everything that you've got going on, when your salesperson thinks it's going to close, etc. Okay, and you can group it by salesperson and see. In fact, let me do that really, really quick. Okay, salesperson. Just grab that. So I can see in here how many each salesperson has and how much the approximate value of those things is. Okay, and then if I go to specific one, I can see those projects. The other thing is current backlog. Okay, the current backlog is like that graph that I showed you, only it's in a grid and you get to see the individual projects. What's really cool about this list is that it's sorted by the book date. So the oldest book date is the project that's on top. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have had this problem, but I've seen people where jobs fall through the cracks. You know, it doesn't get on the calendar or something happens where it's not actually being paid attention to. This list right here is every job that you've booked that is not 100% invoiced. Okay, so there's absolutely no way that anything can fall through the cracks in the software as long as you're looking at the current backlog. Okay, this is the other half of the Bible. So there's the current opportunities, everything that's a project not booked, and then your current backlog, everything is booked and not 100% invoiced. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to take you through a little bit of the project process. I'm sure you guys have heard that we import from Configura. We also import from CIF files. So if you guys do any furniture sales, you do anything like that?
No, we don't.
Okay. How about Hamilton Sorter? Do you sell their stuff?
Yes.
Okay. Hamilton Sorter built a thing on their website for exporting to eManage. Then you can just import their bill of materials into eManage really quickly. But I'm going to show you a Configura import. Okay, so I'm going to go into this project here, and I'm just going to quickly show you the windows of the project that lead up to that. Your first window has your scope of work, who your salesperson is. We do salespeople splits, so if you have 2 salespeople or 3, or somebody that you want to include with 0 credit just so they can have access to the project, you put the salesperson in here. The credit has to equal 100%, or else it doesn't let you continue. It doesn't let you continue with no salesperson also. Okay, we have project managers. Do you guys have project managers that follow the project through?
Yep.
Okay, so we have a project manager field here. If you have project managers, it becomes a required field, so you can't skip it. If you guys deal with furniture companies to refer business to you, you can put things here. Architects. What this does for you is it lets you pull up. Architect says, "Gosh, I've gotten you a lot of business," and you can actually see how much business they've actually gotten you by pulling up a list of all the projects. And this, of course, is the end user here. So then we go into surveys. So surveys are questions and answers about the project. This one happens to be a bid. So these are things that Stefan put together for a bid project. Okay, so the bid source, and you just check off the answers. Bid type, check off the answers. The surveys are completely customizable, and part of our setup process is we go through and we basically give you a little template and then work with you through the templates to get exactly what you want. Okay. Next we have the public bids and competitor tracking. So what this does, I don't know if you guys ever track who you're competing with and how many times you've lost to them, but this window allows you to do that. It allows you to say, how many times have I competed with Systematics? okay, over a 6-month period, and how many times have I lost and how many times have they won, or have we won? So the nice thing about this is that if it's a public bid, you can actually get those bid prices back. If you get those bid prices back, then you can start compiling what the difference in your price and their price was. Because I don't know about you, but I don't like to give away the house just to get the sale. I want to be as competitive as possible without going too far. So this window helps you compile that information. And we do have a time and materials section. I don't know if you guys do anything like that. Most of the Spacesaver group does not do that, but it will do a time and materials, meaning that it's not a fixed price. It's not a fixed bid. Okay. But the bill of materials, estimating and quoting, this is where most of the project work happens. And again, we do the importing from Configura or Hamilton Sorter. And I'm just going to do a really quick import so you guys see what happens. While you're importing, we also have templates for auto-calculating parts. And Stefan, you can see, has a bunch of auto part templates. He has some for Spacesaver Mobile. So I'm going to go ahead and use that template. What the auto parts do is they calculate like your labor. So do you guys use the configure man hours to calculate what your labor is going to be?
Yep.
Okay. Well, we have a calculation in there that says use the man hours and make that man hours the quantity on my labor item. Okay. So we have a lot of different calculations, but the Spacesaver man hours importing from the configure file is one of those calculations. Okay. So I'm going to go here and import now. It's this simple. Your configure has an export to eManage, which spits out an XML file. And we have all these different imports. We have, of course, the configure. We have a configure for GSA, all these different types, and then, of course, the Hamilton sorter. And I've got one of these XML files here, and I'm going to validate the parts. If any parts don't exist in your database already, it adds them one click. And that's completed, and I do my import. Now, when you use auto-calculating parts, basically, if you do calculations for your freight and your labor and all the external things, even an overhead cost, that stuff's all done right at once. Okay, so you see here, I've got my auto parts here. I've got freight, labor, and he's got something called a transaction fee. And you see how these quantities are all auto-calculated based on the Spacesaver product that was also imported at the same time. Okay, and then you can make a quote. So I'm just going to make a quote here really quickly to just show you how fast it is. So we do phase quotes or line item quotes. A line item will show every part and piece that makes up a mobile system. A phase quote, you can put a description into each phase of the project. And we consider a phase like a room where you're going to do a mobile system or a room where you're going to do static shelving, any of those things. So you can put one description. It rolls up all the parts into one price and one description. That's what a phase quote is. Okay. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. Put a little couple options on here. These options let you pretty much make the quote look however you want it to look. I'm going to do that. I'm going to give it a name. And you can see some of the stuff is defaulted. It knows that System Center is the salesperson. It also knows the terms of sale for the customer already. So two things I don't have to fill out there. Okay. And I'm going to save and print. So Stefan has some reports that he's done himself. And basically anyone that has eManage can customize their quotes to be whatever they want. And I'll show you his in the documents. But I'm going to use the original for this. Now, I didn't add any descriptions into the phases, but one of those has a description automatically because it was in the auto part template. And he calls that contract services, and it's the installation and freight and all those things put together. You see I've got 4 posts and case and mobile here. It's really simple. If you want to put those in any type of order, you can do it really quickly with a couple of numbers. Okay, these export to PDF. You can save them back to eManage as a document. Okay, and I'm going to actually show you that right now. I'm going to show you the quote he actually did for this project and all the other documents that are attached to this project. And these documents, the document management part of eManage stores the documents that you put in there electronically so that you can get them from any computer. You don't have to go onto the server. They're stored inside the database. So if you're working from home, you can go into a project and grab a document. And you'll see that here. I'm going to go here to this customer PO acceptance. I'm going to double click it. And we're going to be opening it from his database in Hawaii. Okay, we do have an editing function here where if you're going to edit it, you say, yes, I'm going to edit it, make your changes, save it, and it gives you a quick link to put it right back into the project. So I'm going to say, no, I'm not going to modify that. And we'll just see here. I think this one actually had the, this one has the Spacesaver document, the certificate of warranty attached to it. Okay, so that was scanned and put right back to the project. Okay, let me just pull up a couple other documents here. I think there's a customer quote in here. Customer proposal, here we go. Okay, so this is his quotation. Bring it down in percentage here. So he's got pictures in here for whether it's for the market. So if it was a healthcare market, it would have healthcare pictures. Business has business office pictures. And this is like I said, an alternative quote that he did that he just prints out. So literally, he imports, he creates the quote, he uses this template, and he's got all of this ready to go out to the customer. And you see he actually attached this configure a drawing of the system and a CAD drawing. Okay. So all that's stored in there, and we integrate with Outlook as well. So I could literally go here and right-click on this and say, I want to send to an email recipient, okay, and send it to a person that's already attached to the project, really simply. Okay, so then we go, after the quote, we get the quote back, it's signed, and we go into order entry. Order entry is where we store the sale of the job. Okay, so you can see this was a $37,000 sale price job, and he'd condense it into the one line item. It's got the customer's PO number. That's searchable too. So when the customer calls up and says, I'm calling about my PO number 400-54770, you can quickly look up that job from their purchase order number. Okay, and you'll see each order also has a booking credit. Like I said, your sale price and your booking credit might be different if you're doing a buying, med assets job, or you're doing a GSA job. Okay, you can also customize this any line. If you don't like what it says in the description, you can change it any description you want. And then after that, after you book the order, this is, by the way, is what books the order and puts it into the backlog automatically. So as soon as that job gets booked in here, then it goes right into the backlog and sits there until it's 100% invoiced. Okay, so then we go to, from there, we go into creating our purchase orders. I'm assuming that you guys create your purchase orders as you're doing your systems, right? You don't keep the inventory?
Right.
Okay, so that's what we do, create purchase orders, JIT only, although we do have an inventory system in here for if you guys sell folders and labels, or you bring in a system. Maybe you tear down a system and you keep it and you resell it. You can also use the inventory for that. Okay, but we create purchase orders, and they're created based off of the quote that you gave your customer, all the parts and pieces that made that up. Okay, and then you can enter acknowledgments. So Spacesaver's acknowledgments get entered in here so that you can track when you're supposed to get that product. Okay, and over here on the Today screen where we were earlier, there's vendor acknowledgments. You get a whole list of all of your vendors' acknowledgments that are not received yet, where the product's not received. Okay, and if I look here, these are broken out by phase. So if I had multiple rooms that I was doing in here, I would see those broken out. Okay, and I'll just print one of these here. Actually, oh, let me go to purchase orders, sorry. And we'll just print one out just to see what it looks like. Now I know you don't send your purchase order number or your purchase orders off to Spacesaver, you send them a configure file. But this is how you're able to make sure that what's on the acknowledgement is what you needed to do the job. So I'm going to print that selected PO, and okay, so there's all the line items that made up that particular system. And there's only Spacesaver because it breaks it out automatically by the vendor. And then we go to, also in that acknowledgements costing is where you put the vendor invoices. So I don't know if you've heard anything about our integration with QuickBooks, but everything that has to do with projects or service, okay, payables, receivables, anything like that goes into eManage first, and then you just push a button and it sends over to QuickBooks. When you send over to QuickBooks, it pushes over the customer, the job, any invoice, and whatever you're sending, an invoice to your customer, a receivable, or a vendor invoice, a payable, okay, right over to QuickBooks.
If there's an existing customer in QuickBooks, does it automatically create it, or do we have to create it first?
That's exactly what it does. In fact, nothing should happen in QuickBooks until it happens in eManage. The only thing that happens in QuickBooks that has nothing to do with eManage is your overhead expense. Okay, your rent, your electric, those kind of things that have nothing to do with project, service, or, you see what I'm saying?
Okay.
And if you look here, actually, you can see on the QuickBooks menu the things that we send over. So we send project receivables, meaning your customer invoices. So we actually, if the customer doesn't exist, it creates the customer. If the job doesn't exist, it creates the job. If the invoice doesn't exist, it creates the invoice. Okay? Then project payables, your vendor invoices go right over. Your payments against those receivables go over. If you guys take deposits, so you guys, if you take deposits now, you know it's kind of a pain in the butt. And QuickBooks is not really a way to take a deposit. You have to kind of do it manually, where you have to say, you have to manually put it into other current liability accounts, right? And then you have to then apply that or take it out of other current liability and put it into sales accounts when you actually take that income. So we automate that process. So when you do a deposit in eManage, it puts it into other current liability account and then backs it out when you go to take the invoice or take the income. So it does that automatically for you. Service ticket receivables, your invoices to your customers. Service ticket payments, those payments against those, and service ticket payables, because you could have, if you're ordering service parts from Spacesaver, you're going to have purchase orders and invoices against those. For service agreement,
all at once, or you do it each item individually?
If you have, say you have 40 invoices, okay,
Right.
you highlight all 40 and you can send them all at once.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as you can do batch processing, that makes
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You do create them in here one at a time. I mean, you invoice a customer one at a time in here, but then they go into a list. They go into a list automatically. You highlight all of them, send them over. But it also gives you the ability, if you're not sure about something, if you don't highlight it, it doesn't go over. Okay, it's only the highlighted things. So, do you guys use QuickBooks for payroll? Or do you use ADP or Paychecks? Do you guys know?
ADP.
Okay. We export timesheets to ADP or Paychecks, so to that format. So that's not a problem there. We also do QuickBooks. So, and if you were using it to do payroll, you could also send your commissions to QuickBooks as payroll. Let's see. So that's QuickBooks. I mean, you basically do everything in eManage except for those overhead expenses, and it's such a solid integration. I mean, you can ask any one of our customers that's using it. It's really solid. Like, there's just nothing that goes wrong with it. So.
But Dean Santos using it, right?
I'm sorry?
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so then we have our receiving. Obviously, you get your acknowledgments from your vendor, and then you receive your product. Okay. We kind of skip a step in this section just because it then goes on to the calendar. And that's not actually one of our modules. We have actually an implementation calendar. So I'm just going to go there real quick because that is the next step after receiving the product. So our implementation calendar, you can break it down into multiple calendars. Okay, so you can tell it, I want to open up 3 different calendars. One's going to be delivery only. One's going to be, installation of a mobile system. And then another one's going to be, you can see Stefan here has punch list. So he's got a calendar specifically for his punch list items on his projects. So if I look here, here's all the jobs he has scheduled here. Okay, and into the future, you can see these dates are bold here. I can actually move into the future and see those as well. I want to print a work order. I just click here, and I hit the I key on my keyboard. I can do multiples. It's a drag and drop calendar. Okay, so drag and drop. If you schedule something and you need to take a couple of jobs and reschedule them, you highlight both and you drag and drop them. Okay, we have barcode payroll. I'm not sure if you guys saw anything or heard anything about that, but you can actually use a barcode scanner and you can scan guys in and out of a job with a barcode scanner. Come back, plug it in, and it does your payroll for you. Okay. This here, you can see this is our work order, and it's got installation items. It has whatever parts they're going to need to take with them. So I don't know about for you guys, but we had problems with some of our customers. Like, think about McMurray Stern out here. They're in LA. If they miss taking a piece that they need for a job, then they have to send somebody out from their office to wherever, fight traffic for an hour, 2 hours, or however long to get that part out to them. So that's huge expense. And you guys, you cover the whole Northeast, so I don't even know how that would affect you. But this way, everybody knows exactly what they need to take with them. Okay, because it'll spit out all the parts that they need to take. Okay, so that's our calendar. If you look down here at the bottom, this is a to be scheduled list. So this is every single job that's booked that has not been scheduled yet. Okay, that you've said requires scheduling. So literally, you take it from here and you drag and drop it right onto the calendar. And that will schedule the job. You tell it, you give it a few pieces of information. You may schedule who's going to be doing that project or not. You don't have to specify it then. But then you can just schedule it right there. Okay, back to the project process. After you've scheduled it, you're going to do customer invoicing. And again, you can enter deposits here as well. So if you do deposits, you would come here first, add your deposit, then you can come back and add your invoices. So I'm going to just double click on this so you can see what our invoicing system looks like. It's pretty simple. It assigns an invoice number based on the job number if you wanted to. Excuse me. You can give it a name, the billing type, the billing date. It figures out the due date based on your terms of sale. You can put any special text you want. You can choose to show the part numbers on the invoice or not. You can do percentages of the balance or percentage of the order. So do you guys ever do progress billings? If you do like say a 30, 30, 60, this will break it out for you. So you can do 30%, 30%, and then 100% of the balance. So this percent of order will let you do that pretty easily. And down here, you'll see these are actually the sales accounts that go to QuickBooks. Okay, and this can be automated completely, so you don't have to think about this. Whatever's on the job breaks down into the accounts that you do. So if you have accounts that specifically for mobile or specifically for static shelving, you can have it automatically break out into those accounts, send it right over to QuickBooks, and your balance sheet is done. Okay, and let me just, I'm going to save and print this just so you get to see what the invoice looks like.
So if I integrate this with Configura, and I want to use this for my order entry process, right now we're doing a couple of spreadsheets that the sales rep fills out.
Mm-hmm.
Then it gets entered manually, obviously. I'm trying to understand the processes. Is the sales rep going to be using? I don't think the sales rep's going to be interfacing with this.
Well, what they would do, this is what generally happens. Do you have a drawing department, somebody that actually does the configure file, or is it a salesperson?
Sitting here now.
Okay, so I mean, the salesperson doesn't do that drawing
No.
because that gets kind of expensive for licensing for configure, I'm sure. Yeah, so once that drawing's done, the person that does the drawing imports, okay, and then the quoting process is a matter of putting information together, just saying I'm going to use this option, this option, this option, and spitting out a quote. I mean, I showed you literally that quote I showed you in this in these documents. That was one click. Okay, this was literally one click after the import to create to build this. And this whole thing, because it's already, all the information's already in there. That's one click. And then send it via email or print it, or however you want to do that. Okay. So what happens generally is you have a design department, they do the drawing, they import the bill of materials, do the auto parts, and then the salesperson comes in and says, that profit margin's a little low, or I can't go that high on the price. They'll adjust the pricing on that bill of materials and then print out the quote. Okay.
How is eManage sold?
It's concurrent licensing.
Current licensing.
Concurrent. So most people have about 3/4, maybe a little more of the licenses for the people that they have, because not everybody's going to log in at once.
Right.
So it's basically the number of licenses you buy is the number of people that can be logged in at one time. You can have as many users defined as you want. Like I think Patterson Pope now is at 150 users. So, but they have 150 users defined. Not all of them log in at the same time.
Right. We would have say 30 users.
Too many.
Yeah, it's probably not 30, is it?
No, because with 32 employees, the
Yeah.
service techs won't need to get in
Right.
there. Yeah.
Right, and actually, let me tell you what else is included here with the software. We also do a mobile web portal, and that's why I was asking about the smartphones. Do your service guys have smartphones?
No, they don't.
Okay, if you got them smartphones, let me just show you really quickly. This is our mobile web portal. It runs from a phone, okay, any smartphone. Okay, so they can log in. You can literally do service tickets right on this. So if I look up, what if you guys are in my system? Let me try that. Okay, so Donegan. Okay, I can literally go to your company record, and I can create a service ticket right on my phone. Okay, like I was in the software. The mobile web portal does not take a license. Okay, so literally your service guys can be out there banging out service tickets all day long. And if they're using the mobile web portal, it doesn't take a license. Okay. This is a great way for salespeople too. They can actually create projects. If you look here, if I go back to this, I can create a project right here. Okay. I can submit action. I can submit requests for like a drawing to be done, a configure drawing, or a CAD drawing, or a revision, or a punch list item. I can literally have those things done off of my phone. Okay. That's what I was asking, because and plus think about what it does when you use that kind of thing in front of your customer. You know, it's a real morale. It's a confidence booster for your customer to see you using something like this and be able to take care of them right on your phone. Okay. Yeah, if your salespeople go and do walkthroughs at the end of the project, they can literally do their punch list service tickets right here. Okay. So again, if I just go ahead and search, I can look up companies, projects. So if I look up, let me look up this project that we're working. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on my database. 14. Project number 14. I find it that quick. I go in there. I can see what contacts are associated. I can see all the documents. I can see the notes. I can submit an action item here. That's that request I was talking about. Okay. I can go to the company record and create something new. I can edit the project. So it's a pretty cool tool, and it's like I said, any smartphone, iPhone, Android phone, doesn't matter what kind of phone. Okay. Oops. Okay, so back here. So that was customer invoices. I did show you the invoice, right? That was right here. That's what the invoice looks like. Again, every single one of these reports that's in here can be customized however you want it to look. And just go back here. Then we have our commission thing, and you can create multiple commission plans with a graduated lookup. Okay, so you can say if the profit margin is between 20 and 22%, pay 14% commission on the profit. If it's between this and this, pay 17%. Okay, that's right here, and it's really cool because if you put in a cost after the fact, so let's say you paid commission ahead of time before you had all the costs in. When the costs come in, it'll actually calculate a negative if there is a negative, or if you paid them too much. It'll actually calculate a negative for their next commission. Okay, and then we have our final profit. So the final profit here is going to show you if you use eManage to do the payroll, and I don't mean payroll like actually paying people, but actually to do the timesheets. You'll see in here the sale price. There's how much was invoiced, how much was received, the product cost, the labor cost, inventory cost, and total cost, and then your profit margin, your profit dollars. And you'll see here, I have both payments that were made on the invoices. I have my expenses by vendor right here. Okay, so by vendor, and I've got the variance between what I estimated and what it actually costs. I've also got timesheet details. So if I look here, I'm going to see every single person that worked on that job and when and how much it cost. So you see there's total cost summed at the bottom is exactly my labor cost up here. Okay. We also have something called internal project cost. When people do drawings or whatever, that costs you money. That's like an overhead expense that you can't really track, except if you have this software. When people work on drawings, it tracks how long they work on things for. Okay, time spent. Okay, if you leave it open while you're working on the drawing, it's going to track the time spent and how much it actually costs you to do that function. And what's really cool about that, and I'm sure you guys have a million things that could be cool about that, but what I think is cool about it is that you get to look at your job. Let's say I want to look at every project that we created last year that we didn't actually get the job, and then be able to see how much money did we spend not getting those jobs, because no other software is going to give you that. It's just not. But this, if you use the system the way we prescribed you to do it, you'll get all of that automatically. It just happens because people are doing their jobs. Okay. Let me talk a little bit about the service so you guys can see that. And I'm just going to do a little search here. I'm going to look up some service stuff by company. I'm going to look at the University of Hawaii. Okay, so once I look up the University of Hawaii, I can then tell it I want to look at any service agreements, okay, that are on University of Hawaii. Oh, they don't have any? Gotta be kidding me. Let me try State of Hawaii. Okay, so here's a couple of service agreements. I'm sure you guys offer those, right?
Yes, we do.
Yes, lots of them.
Okay, yeah, so and so does everybody. So this helps you to keep track of how much they cost. We have an auto increase that you can set to go like every, say you want it to increase every couple of years by 2%. Okay, you can actually set that in here to happen. Well, the way it works is our service agreements, you can have multiple systems on one agreement. Okay, so you see here, this amount of this agreement is 280727.
That's kind of normal right now with some of the agreements that we're writing. So yeah.
Sure, you have one bill to that's paying for a bunch of different places, right?
5 systems, and they're all at the same location, and they want them under one agreement.
And that's exactly what this does. So this is one of those systems. Well, this only has one system, but you can see that this is a place for multiple systems. So the actual price of the agreement comes from the sum of each of these systems, because depending on the age of it, okay, not every one of these is going to cost the same. Do you guys figure out the cost by the number of carriages?
Typically.
Okay, so that's the way we do it. We actually use a price per carriage, basically. It's a unit price.
What is your current price per carriage?
It depends on the people, but you actually set that up. You actually set that up.
Have you seen it? What kind of numbers have you seen?
Let me look here. I mean, everybody uses this, so here's like service agreement defaults. We like to automate as much as we can automate. So when you set he doesn't do that. But most people set it up. How embarrassing, right? I could go to somebody else and show you, but here's you set a default unit price by.
I think we're using $75 for a mobile carriage.
Right. So then it would be 75 here. It depends, right? It would depend if it's Eclipse or if it's a mechanical assist. It might depend on that, right?
Powered is going to be like 125 a carriage.
Right. So see, that's what we do here. That's why we have models here. We have the product type, the model, and stuff like that, so that you can actually break it down and say, for my my power assist, I'm going to charge this amount per carriage. For my for my manual, do they even do manual anymore? I don't know. I'm going to charge this much per carriage. So this allows you to do it, and it's automated, because one of the biggest problems for companies is that when people when people do things over and over and over again, they get desensitized, they start making mistakes. The computer doesn't care about doing things over and over again. It doesn't get tired.
We also service a lot of document scanners and check scanners. Obviously, we can populate those in there ourselves.
Serviceable items, absolutely. You can make any serviceable item. These happen to be, when you actually sell a Spacesaver, you can actually here say, I want to create a serviceable item from that. And what it does is, that when you get an acknowledgement back from Spacesaver, that actually becomes your serial number, correct?
Yeah.
So that's what we do when you're in a project and you say, I want to create a serviceable item. It takes that acknowledgement number and it makes it the serial number for you, and fills out all of the movable parts, warranty, and labor warranty.
Track it back then, obviously. That's smart.
Yeah, it goes right back to the project. Sure.
Okay.
So anyway, serviceable items go on to service agreements. The service agreements have expiration dates. Okay, so over here, if I go to my Today screen, the Today has a bunch of things that I need. Under service agreement items, I have my service agreements expiring. Okay, that's a list of everything that's expiring within the period of time I tell it to look. Okay, so I can see how long the agreement's for, how many systems are on it, the status, the contact name, the company name, the first proposal date, salesperson, okay, the agreement type. I can go right in here and I can make a proposal for that, or for them to continue on with that. Okay. Also in here, it does automatic invoicing. So when I go here to customer invoices, it's going to look at when my agreement ends. If they renewed, it'll automatically create like quarterly invoices if I say my billing cycle is quarterly, okay, or 2 invoices for semi-annually, or 1 invoice for annual. Okay, so it automatically does that. Again, on the serviceable item here, here's that thing here. Increase every 2 years, 3 years, 1 year. As the system gets older, you want to make sure that you're increasing that cost, because you're going to have to do more. Okay.
Hey, Phil, quick question. I get all the service contract. That's a no-brainer for us. It's awesome. No question about it. Couple quick questions. Database resides. This is an ASP or software as a service?
No. You guys have your own database at your own location.
Database resides locally, but the actual eManage is a web-based solution?
We have the mobile web portal, but this is a Windows software.
It's okay.
It's
I just wanted to try and understand. So
right, and let me tell you,
installed servers our house.
Yes, and I've done this 100 times, and I could save you a lot of money if you wanted to listen. Some people do, some people don't. I always try to
No,
avoid,
we're going to listen to you because you're the expert. I'm not.
and I've done it really, really well, and had some really, really happy customers and I've gotten them out of I've gotten them out of this cheap on the hardware and software side. Because
Okay,
my job is not to make you spend money on a server. My job is to
that's
make sure you
fine.
have software.
How do we put together some pricing on this?
Would you let me know how many users, and I can put together a quote and send it on over?
Okay.
It's actually not, it's not any big secret. Here,
Yeah, no, we're just trying to, we're sitting here going through, we're thinking it's 10 concurrent users.
okay, let me just take you here, projectemanage.com.
Yeah.
If you guys go there, or you don't have to, actually, I'm just going to show you right now. We have a pricing sheet, so nothing's hidden. The quote
Okay.
would be exactly what it says on here, okay?
Uh-huh.
So we have a pricing thing on here. I'm just going to wait for it to come up. Our base package is 8 users, and it's $19,000. Okay, that's with the setup, and it's 5 hours of online training included, and we do all the setup. And which, while you're getting set up, you get a lot of training. That's for that. 8 concurrent licenses.
That's probably fine.
Additional concurrent licenses are $1,750. Okay.
And we can make the decision on, we can get started with the 8, and then if we find we're
Yep.
running into
Yep. You can
lockouts, then
add
we can
licenses anytime you want to. Okay.
So is it just a license file you email us?
It's a key. Yeah, it's an encrypted key that we send you, and then or we replace it for you. So this starts after the first year.
Okay.
Okay, and what that enables you or allows you to do is have everything that we come out with. Okay, so I don't know if you guys saw this. I just got to show you this really quick. This is something that we just came out with that we gave to everybody that had a valid support contract. So runs on the iPad. This is a dashboard that runs on the iPad. Okay, so literally you can see your business on your iPad anytime you want to. And if you look here, it's got bookings year to date by salesperson, and then in a graph, bookings by market year to date, sales year to date, current backlog by salesperson. So anyway, those are the kind of things that when you have a valid support contract, it's once a year, or you can even pay quarterly on that, but it doesn't start until your first year is up. Okay, so and that's $315 per year per defined user. Okay, but that includes a mobile web portal, customer portal. We're coming out with a Droid app for you to do timesheets on, and email and phone support. So, and we can also come out and do on-site training. If you don't need to, it gets kind of expensive because, labor is the most expensive thing that you guys do. And it's even worse for us, The labor is pretty darn expensive. So if you can do the online training, it's going to be a lot less for you. Okay. So I was going to tell you that we also for the SQL Server software, we can start you on the the free edition.
The MSDE?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's actually the SQL Express now. We can start you on that.
The upgraded version. Yep, that's fine.
Right. So that's 4 gigabytes of data that you can store in there. Once you hit that, I've done this every single time. I like to defer costs. I want costs to come later, right? So we do that SQL Express first. When you run out, we do a trial version of SQL 2008, which lasts for 6 months. Then we put you on the trial version for SQL 2012, which is another 6 months. So you could potentially run, a year and a half, 2 years without having to buy SQL Server. And I like to do that. And by the end of 2 years, there's probably going to be another version of SQL that you could run a trial for. And it's perfectly legal, and it's, I like deferring costs as much as possible for people. It's easier. So anyway, you can do this pretty inexpensive. And yeah, so I can put together a quote with these numbers. With if you say the 8 user, I can put together this quote for you. That's what it's going to say.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And then hardware spec, you just give us whatever you feel
Yeah.
the spec is.
I just actually put together I put together a system. I mean, I didn't actually physically put together, but I went to Amazon. I put together specs on something that ended up being what, $1,400 or $1,500. So
Yeah.
not a big expense. Not like, I mean, I've had customers that have bought $15,000 servers or $25,000 servers and expect them to last for 10 years. But they just don't. They don't. You don't want a server to last that long. You just want something that, will run nice and fast. A couple years down the road, you get another one for $1,400, and it's the fastest, newest thing. So anyway, I mean, I'm sure if you've talked to anybody else, we we have been around for a really long time, and we've been through a lot with everybody, and we've been through.
But weren't they using somebody else prior to you?
No, there's nobody been prior to me. There's nobody who's ever gotten the Spacesaver group, on one software. So
Yeah, no, I thought there was another company, Philip. I apologize.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't Spacesaver driven. It was industry driven.
Yeah, maybe team design.
No, I can't think of it.
Yeah, I think we converted a couple of people from team design, but I mean,
Hey, with Molly Parks out in
yeah, Molly
New York?
Parks. Yeah, she has the manage. Yeah, I know Molly really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she was in. I shouldn't say anything. I'm not going to say anything. I know my customers a little too well, so I know too much, and I can't say anything. But yeah, Tim Powers is a customer. Modern Office, Innerspace, Systematics is still a customer. But Patterson Pope has gobbled up like 3 of my other customers now. So Southwest Solutions, Improve Group, Spacesaver Specialist, Spacesaver Northwest, McMurray Stern. Yeah, they're all customers.
So say we have a server already that has QuickBooks running.
Yep.
There wouldn't be an issue of eManage to be running on that same server, right?
Nope, no problem at all.
And if we already have SQL, does eManage need its own SQL? But if SQL's already installed, it shouldn't be an issue, right?
That's right. All we have is a database. So all we do is put the database on. The thing is, the only thing you have to worry about is space. And let me tell you, in 12 years, the company with the biggest database after 12 years is about 64 gigabytes. Okay, so that's really not all that much when you think about 12 years worth of data and the kind of stuff that we store. I mean, the biggest thing that you're going to store is documents because it's an actual file stored inside the database. So it's
I saw that they had a bunch of different files in there, and they had the current. We're trying to. We've come up with a solution to kind of cut down on the amount of documents we have and configure files and whatnot. So we could probably save a lot of space by just not filling it up with older files that we don't need on there.
Sure.
You know?
Well, what we have in our document management is we have a retention date on every document. So you can actually set how long it needs to be kept for. Okay, so and you can actually physically delete those documents when the retention date is up. So, but I got to tell you, there's amazingly cool things in here. If you go to that projectemanage.com, we have a few videos of some of the really cool new stuff in version 7, and I'm really proud of it. I got to tell you. I mean, it's just come so far. We took the best of every customer, the best practices, and we're in a few different industries now. So whenever a new customer comes on, we take the best practices of that customer and we build it in and make it optional and customizable for everybody. So you guys, one more thing really quick, the prospecting in here. I don't know if you guys do any prospecting, but it is really, really cool. So let's say you wanted to break into a market that you're not doing so hot in. You could actually say, I want to look for police department And where would be some place that you don't have a lot of police departments? Do you know? A city.
Holden.
Holden, and what state?
Yes.
Mass. Okay. So I can go here and I can say build a grid of up to 250 results. It uses Yahoo, the Yahoo directory, to go out and find the results, and gives you the name, the address, the phone number, the zip code, everything. So you can go process.
Within what radius? I mean, or is that defined? Is that user defined?
Yahoo actually does it. I'm not really sure what the radius is, but if you put
if you look, they're not all in Holden. They're all in different.
That's right.
Surrounding areas.
That's right. It does, and in fact, it does do a radius. I'm just not sure what Yahoo does with the radius.
Yeah.
But what's cool about this is, watch this. Let's say I want to add these two as customers in my database. Okay. I literally highlight them, right-click, and add them. And it fills out all of the information for me that it has there. Address.
Do you integrate with Salesforce?
We don't. Spacesaver approached us about it, and we gave them a quote, and they thought it was too expensive to do, so they said no.
We've just been pushing Salesforce. That's why I was asking, because we have a lot of this stuff in Salesforce already. Well,
we could import that stuff, but the thing, you didn't hear it from me, but I actually heard that their Salesforce, the girl that was in charge of implementing that, is gone. But I don't know that for sure.
Yeah, Julie Marks is not there anymore.
Yeah, so I don't know how hard that's going to be pushed anymore. So, yeah, like I said, we gave them a quote for that, but they decided not to do it. It was too expensive. So, but yeah, I mean, this does way more. It does way more than Salesforce does, because it integrates with it is one software.
I thought it was Salesforce on steroids.
Yeah, it is. I mean, but the simple fact is, it does. I mean, look at this. If you go into human resources here, you can handle your prevailing wage jobs on each employee. I mean, we go to every single detail and make it easy and flexible. So like here, I could have different pay rates. Go find somebody who's an installer. I can have different pay rates associated with an employee. I could have prevailing wage, I can have regular, I can have all these different pay rates that when I assign them to a job, I'm telling it which pay rate to use. So I don't know if you guys do prevailing wage jobs. I'm sure you do.
You just got rid of a couple of my spreadsheets. Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, listen, I hate spreadsheets. I mean, there's no reason to have a spreadsheet. And the problem with spreadsheets is they're not compilable. Like your guys, if they're doing all their pricing on a spreadsheet, well, that's only good for that one job. You can't take all the spreadsheets and put them into one unless you're doing it manually. This compiles all that data for you. So if you look here, if I go to analysis and I say, I want to run a bookings report, you can look by any period of time you want. So I can say order book date, let's say is, let's do last quarter. That's all I do, last quarter. I can do it by market type, okay, or leave that blank and look at all my data after. So I run my query. It's going to show me my profit, my estimates, my estimated labor compared to my actual labor, all of those things right here, compiled, because that's the only thing that software is good for, is compiling the data so you can see where you've been and how to do better. This is going to take a little bit to run. Oh, there we go. So, I mean, we have over 125 fields in here of data. Invoice date, payments, bills, booking credit, when the implementation was completed on. We've got the estimated, the commission amounts, the commission paid. Every bit of data about that project is right here. And each of these grids, you can turn into different views and save them for your whole company or for just yourself. So, I mean, this is a lot of data to look at, and you don't need to see it all the time. So you literally can go in and create layouts. And you can see, actually, Stefan has some saved layouts here. So if I look at, a work in process, let's see what that looks like. So I literally load a whole new layout. You see all those columns turned into now 20 columns with just the data that's for that. If I go here and I say profit layout, okay, they're now turned into, what, 7 columns, and just what he wanted to see. And now that's something that he made public that anyone can use, anyone can see. Okay. Salespeople, by the way, only see their own stuff. It's very, you know, so, and if you're a manager of salespeople, then you see who you manage.
Yep.
Anyway, so the setup process takes about 2 to 3 weeks, depending on how dedicated you guys are, because we can have a meeting almost every day and get everything set up. But the more involved you guys are, the faster it goes. Usually it's about an hour every meeting, so we'll do like 3 to 4 meetings a week. That's importing your stuff, you know, importing your existing customers, your vendors, all that stuff. We handle with you.
Okay.
So what do you guys think? Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Yeah. Well, and I haven't even showed you. I mean, I don't want to take over an hour. So, but I mean, if you look at all these menus, this is all the stuff that, you know, we send text messages. So literally you can send, if I look over here at the users, I can literally send a text message to any one of my users. So let me go to Stefan here. I'm going to send him a text message. It's 7 o'clock in the morning there. Okay, so you see I've got his mobile number. I just right click and I say I want to send a text message. It's built in. Okay, you notice how we have spell check in here? So we also have a shared dictionary. So once somebody adds something like Spacesaver comes up as a spelling error. But once you add it to your dictionary, once one person in your company adds it to the dictionary, it's good for everybody. So shared dictionary. Anyway, send message, sends it right to his cell phone. And you can do that with customers too. You can literally send a customer a text message if you have their cell phone number.
So like with service technicians, could you
Yep.
send them, you know, say a service call comes into the office.
Yep.
Can we then send them a service ticket through the...
You could send them a text message saying go into the mobile web portal, but the mobile web portal is how they would work it.
Okay.
Right, because text messages only have a certain amount of data or text characters you can put in them. So, but yeah, you could even send them a link to it, you know. But yeah, the mobile web portal handles pretty much everything: projects, service agreements, service tickets, companies, all that stuff on the phone. It's totally worth getting a cheap, you know, a cheap smartphone,
Yep.
and having them use that. So, any other questions?
Not at the moment, no.
Okay. So, all right. Well, you guys want me to put a quote together for you?
Please.
Okay. So for the 8 users, correct?
Yeah, yes.
Awesome. All right. I'll get that right over to you guys, and hope you enjoyed it. I love showing it off.
Yeah, we enjoyed it very much. Thank you.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.